I thought it would be a cool idea if I could assemble a team of small artists on TikTok and make a video about it. So, what we got here is a list of 10 people who have less than 25,000 monthly listeners on Spotify that I think are pretty cool. So, all of these were found on TikTok, and then I went to Spotify to check them out. So, with that being said, let me tell you my first artist here. The first artist I want to talk about is Sean Indigo. Now, this guy only has 2 songs on Spotify, but his song Fold is pretty damn good. And he only has 1,700 monthly listeners. And even in his 2 songs that he has, he shows some versatility because Fold is kind of this vibe song and the other one is kind of this Roddy Ricch type of melodic rap. It's really cool. I will give it a listen. Our next artist here is Patrick Nitty. I'm sure I'm mispronouncing that, or maybe I'm not. So I'll just call him Patrick for the rest of this segment here. Now, this guy has 3 songs. His most listened to song is Seem So Sure, and it has 25,000 streams. I think that's pretty cool. He has 1,500 monthly listeners as well. So, he's going in the right direction. He has the indie pop thing going on as well. And I mean, it makes sense. Apparently, he made these songs all in his makeshift studio. So that's pretty cool. My favorite song of his is also his most popular, by the way. And it's not because it's the most popular, it just happens to be that way. Our next artists are actually a rap group. They're called False Publication. These are the first people I discovered back in December. Their song Glistening is something that I've been listening to for the past 3 months ever since I discovered them. And honestly, it has a couple of funny bars. Also, the beat for this song kind of reminded me of this cult rap song.
Walk in the room and I know they all know, and if they don't know, put it on a little show.
It's pretty good, actually. But back to False Publication, these guys usually ride an MF Doom type of beat, and I find their bars cool. Like I said, my favorite song is Glistening, their most popular, again, but it just happened to be that way, alright? And they're coming in at just about 800 listeners on Spotify, so yeah, there's also that. Going back into the world of indie pop, we have the band Lipsticker. I tried to diversify my sound away from rap, and these guys are pretty good. They at times remind me of this group called Always. Is it Always? Always? I don't know. To be honest, indie pop isn't really my thing. My favorite song of theirs is Love Is Love Is Love, which is their latest release. They also released an album last year. It's called Syzygy? I'm not sure. But I will say, the album cover looks awesome. And this one clocks in at 45 minutes. It's 10 songs. I haven't listened to it yet. But I'm sure it's gonna be a good album. I don't have a reason to expect it not to be a good album. Now we're on to the next one, and I'm not keeping track of what number this is. The next artist is Abby Kenna. She's actually really solid. I feel like I'm repeating myself here, but everyone is good. Black Coffee was my favorite song of hers until I listened to Sober and Blind. That song is a bop.
Ooh, I smoke, baby.
She hasn't released music all this year, but thankfully there is an LP you can listen to. It's called From the Bathroom Floor, and she has a couple of singles out as well. And she sits at only 100 listeners. I think she should have more than just 100 people listening to her music, but I think going into the future it can be higher. Speaking about high, let's go to Toronto. I don't want to mispronounce this, so I'll just call her Via. She's slow paced in what I've heard of her, and she's kind of going for this retro sound as well, which I appreciate. Apparently one of her biggest influence is Amy Whitehouse. Amy, what? I was about to say Amy Whitehouse. At least that's what it says on her Spotify profile. And she's sitting at a cool 300 monthly listeners, almost 400. And she also put out an EP called In No Particular Order this year. And if you were wondering, my favorite song of hers is You. Our next artist here is Britt Elizabeth. She only has 2 songs out, but one of them is a certified bop. My favorite song of hers is Don't Tell, which is also her most popular, but that's just because she has 2 songs out. So, you know, it's not, I swear, I'm not looking at these artists and just listening to their most popular. It's just a coincidence. She has the mainstream pop sound without the following, but I'm sure with the right people behind her, she can make it big. Our next artist here is Grace Pell. She also doesn't have a lot of songs out, but I think vocally she's one of the more impressive in this video. She has a pop sound to her as well. Like, I could definitely see one of her songs being on the charts, not necessarily as the big hit, but as one of the top 40 songs where it's like number 39 or number 38, you know what I mean? And out of the songs that she has on Spotify, I gotta say that my favorite is Upside Down. Now, I'm going into a genre that I don't know much about for the next artist, and it's country. Yeah. I don't know a lot about country. You can catch me listening to Kenny Rogers once in a while, and only one song, and it's The Gambler. I say all of this to say that even though this isn't my type of genre, I was still impressed by this artist enough to put him in this video. Caitlin Petty is someone that I believe in to make it big, because even though I don't like country, I can still bump some of her songs, and that just speaks to her being able to appeal to the casual listener. She's also the second most popular that I'll talk about today, because she's at 10,000 listeners as of me recording this. Now, listeners vary from day to day is what I realized in recording this video, because she was at 8,000 like last week. Now she's at 10. She also kind of reminds me of an old Taylor Swift at times, so maybe that's why I feel so positively about her. And my favorite song of hers on Spotify is probably Staring at the Ceiling or Supernova. One of the two. I can't decide, to be honest with you. Even if you don't like country, I think you should listen to her because you either have it or you don't. And in my opinion, she has it. Let's end it off with a genre that I'm very familiar with, and that's hip hop. And speaking about you can tell when someone has it and when someone doesn't, these people have it. They're by far the biggest people I'll talk about in this video. And if you put a gun to my head and you say which one of these people will blow up, I'll say Barely Legal. Coming in at over 20,000 monthly listeners. And this is the only time I'll tell you to listen to their most popular song just because it's popular. Because it really shows that these people can cross over. If you like hype hip hop and you want to hear some good lyricism as well, they got a tape on Spotify that you can listen to, and on top of that, they got a couple of songs that you can also listen to on Spotify that aren't part of the tape. With that being said, for all the artists that I mentioned, the sky really is the limit. I hope these people don't do some dumb stuff that makes this video age poorly if they do blow up, you know what I mean? Like, I'm gonna be mad if I shout out these people and then they turn out to be bad people. Like, that's a bad look. It was so cool doing this video too, because it was tough to find good artists or artists that intrigued me enough for me to talk about. However, if you want to listen to more small TikTok artists, Grace Pell, one of the artists that I mentioned, has a playlist full of TikTok artists that are small, and it's no one that I mentioned here either. So that's another alternative if you want to listen to that. As for me, well, that will be all for this week's video. I'm not sure what next week's video is going to be either, so you might not get a video next week. If I'm being honest, you're probably not. With that being said, Jay Dilla can take it away.